Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that I'm going to talk about this morning is a build-on of yesterday's video around the SAPA, or the Second Amendment Preservation Act, being ruled unconstitutional. Wait until I show you who ruled it unconstitutional. Let me show you what Merrick Garland's saying. Let me show you the next steps. This is important to understand because while we covered the breaking aspect yesterday, now we have a little bit more clarity as the dust settles of what happened, who was involved, and where this is going. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one. And if you are a new or returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn that notification bell on. We need as many people as we can to get in the fold so we can pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation, of which we do twice a day on this channel. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration, and today's content is brought to you by SDI. Now, I know a lot of you out there like to upgrade and modify your own guns. And if you're looking to turn a hobby into a career, what are you waiting for? The online programs at SDI cover everything from ballistics, online woodworking and finishes, shooting sports management, ballistics, anything you can imagine, and it's all shipped directly to your door to make it as convenient as possible. There's never been a better time to turn that hobby into that career, so what are you waiting for? There's a link in the description box below, and thank you so much to SDI for making this content possible. But my brothers and sisters, like I said, I've got to show you now that the dust has settled and the breaking aspect is over, we can start to analyze who's saying what, who is involved, and where this is going next, because this fight is not over. Again, let me know what you think in the comments field down there. Let's get it. U.S. judge strikes down Missouri gun law as unconstitutional. Now, I've got two articles sourced for you. I've got the AP and the New York Times. Now, if you missed yesterday's video, a very high-level catch-up, the Second Amendment Preservation Act is something that basically barred the state officials in Missouri from working for federal gun control laws of any kind. That was the idea. There was penalties for the local police, local sheriffs, anyone in Missouri. There were penalties for working with a federal government gun control scheme, and the whole idea was to counteract Biden's intended gun control narratives, which, to be fair, we've seen with ATF, we've seen in a lot of different ways. That's the backstory, but let me show you where this is going first, because it's been ruled unconstitutional. Again, I'm going to show you who ruled it as such in a second. Missouri's Republican Attorney General Andrew Bailey, in a statement, said he will appeal the ruling, so it's not over. This is not finalized. Quote, as Attorney General, I will protect the Constitution, which includes defending Missourians' fundamental right to bear arms, Bailey said. We are prepared to defend this statute to the highest court, SCOTUS, and we anticipate a better result at the 8th Circuit. And this is the same thing we're seeing with every single gunfight that we're dealing with, from concealed carry issues in New York or New Jersey, to AR bans in California, to now Missouri with the Second Amendment Preservation Act. It is all heading up to the courts because the left is going too far and the right is responding. The court is going to act on this. Now, in my original video, excuse me, in my original video, I mentioned that this destroys sanctuary cities. This ruling does. This destroys marijuana rulings. This destroys a lot of things that are state-level decisions, according to the left, but the federal government has no business getting involved. Well, now the federal government needs to get involved, so you've got a bit of a conflict with some very hot-button topics, i.e. immigration, marijuana, pick your poison. There's lots of things like that. But that's the kind of stuff that's up in the air. But let me show you what the actual judge who decided this said, and then I'm going to tell you who appointed him. Wimes said the police can now work with federal partners without worrying about breaking the voided law, because he voided it. Quote, state and local law enforcement officials in Missouri may lawfully participate in joint federal task forces, assist in the investigation and enforcement of federal firearm crimes, and fully share information with the federal government without fear of HB 85's penalties, the judge wrote. So he invalidated the financial penalties, he invalidated all of it that was inside the SAPA. Now, here's where we get interesting, because listen to who, of all people, starts talking in a New York Times article. This is what Merrick Garland said. Quote, we are gratified by the court's decision, Attorney General Merrick B. Garland said in a statement, adding that it would, quote, allow federal, state, and local law enforcement in Missouri to work together to keep the community safe from gun violence. Now, the DOJ is taking the stance of, you won't even let us do evidentiary inquiries and work together for crimes that are both state and federal. That's what they're taking. And then Missouri's stance is, well, yeah, but you're not going to come in and enforce your gun control laws, i.e. ATF regulations, i.e. gosh, I can't even, the NFA new designation per the ATF's rule interpretations. All of these things, there's two sides that are very clear, but again, it's going towards the SCOTUS, even as the Attorney General of Missouri said. Now, this is important because look at who, wouldn't you know it, look who appointed this judge. Judge Wimes, an Obama appointee, expressed alarm in his ruling that some local and state departments had withdrawn from joint federal task forces in the wake of the law and had refused to use weapons databases administered by the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. You mean the databases that aren't supposed to exist? Awkward. So here's where we get. At a very high level, this is where all the dust settles. You've got an Obama appointee who said, federal laws supersede any state laws through the supremacy clause in the Constitution. We covered it in the first video. Then you have Merrick Garland, the leader of the DOJ, the Attorney General, saying that, well, it's so helpful now, and we're gratified in our decision because now federal laws can reach into state level. Again, citing the supremacy clause. You have the Attorney General of Missouri saying, no, you can't. We're going to the Eighth Circuit where they expect a more favorable outcome, which will eventually lead to the SCOTUS should they take it up. And then you have the big elephant in the room of the fact that the Supremacy Clause is only supposed to enforce against Second Amendment SAPA regulations, but it's not supposed to enforce things like states completely ignoring federal immigration law or completely ignoring federal marijuana laws. You can't pick and choose, and that's the big thing, and that's why I think this is going to go to the SCOTUS in an expedited manner. There's a lot to this. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know if I landed the plane in the comments field below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.